Bruvva releases his new audio log right as I'm almost over being sick. Just in time for me to still sound like a dying cat. Super cool. Makes my job so easy. This voiceover is going to suck. Brace yourselves, puppies. This new audio log is pretty interesting. There's not a ton of new information, but what we got opens up some interesting new lore. We'll break down what we do get here, then go over the possibilities this log opens up. First, let's cover the events in summation, and I'll explain as we go. About 60% of the episode is just Guy and Kevin on a car ride. Not a lot is revealed, even so far as their characters or histories, but Kevin expresses pity for a mortal, a far cry from the great and mighty we first met. We do learn Kevin used to be a fast food worker, specifically for Otolis, but I suspect we'll be getting an audio log more apt for discussing them in the near future, so we'll save them for then. Regardless, character progression is something I'm always down for, and it's greatly appreciated. We get that good shit, though, starting with the plane crash. Of note, the plane is shot down with a military weapon. That's important. We'll come back around to it, as it's a mild hint as to who we're dealing with. When Guy and Kevin investigate the crash, they find almost everyone dead. However, there are 3 things of note: a magic lantern, a briefcase, and a logo on the plane. Kevin deduces that the lantern is magic and creepy, but we don't learn anything else about it. The briefcase is clearly an important plot point, but we don't learn what's in it here. The logo gives us a name, Nastrum. In World of Darkness canon, Nastrum is a weapon manufacturer and dealer, and a subsidiary of Pentex. Pentex is big, the setting's equivalent to Resident Evil's Umbrella Corporation. The company brokers deals and develops tools drenched in the most foul forces the supernatural have to offer. They're also servants of the Worm, the big cosmic big bad of the setting, who's hell-bent on destroying everything everywhere, and the enemy of the Garou. The crash has one survivor, Bennings, who looks like this and urges Guy and Kevin to escape. Bennings is a Fomori, a person afflicted with an earth spirit corrupted by the Worm. Shortly after, those responsible for shooting down the plane arrive: Mr. Palmer, Ross, and Blair. Now, be warned. With the exception of what we literally see in the episode, what I lay down hereafter is almost entirely speculation. Functionally, we know nothing for sure about these 3. What I say about them from here on out is my best guess from what little the episode gives us. Let's start with Palmer. Clean cut, nice suit, clearly a corporate guy. He tells Bennings, quote, "Your shares will go to someone more deserving," before having the big bad Ross take care of him. I reckon Palmer is some higher-up executive of Pentex, between the availability of high-end military gear and formal bearing. Why did he kill Bennings? Did he make him a Fomori? Did he afflict him with a spirit? Neither can be said for sure, though the first assumedly has something to do with the lantern. Its recovery was likely his primary goal, as he insists on taking it back. Palmer then does something weird. He pulls out a cell phone and does something to compel Chapman to tell the truth, as against his will, the officer readily gives their identities, starts listing off his numerous murders, and tells what he and Kevin found. Finally, while Palmer kills Bennings, he plays nice with our boys. After securing the lantern, he lets them go. He makes it clear it's because Palmer believes Kevin is still aligned with the Regent and doesn't want to draw her anger by killing one of her pawns. Kevin, wisely, plays into it, pretending to still be a Camarilla agent. This will almost certainly have some dire consequences. I find it hard to believe that, whatever their business, Palmer won't bring up finding 2 of her agents next time they meet. We can assume Chapman's position as a ghoul spy is compromised. And given that he has a domestic life, a wife and kids, I can only imagine the regent won't like the news that Chapman's betrayed her. So, for the most part, we can deduce with certainty that Palmer is a Pentex executive, shot down Benning's plane for the lamp, which has unknown powers, and does business with the regent. Blair is a much simpler case. She is a member of First Team, Pentex's elite soldiers. Think of them like mobile task forces from SCP. First Team consists of the, quote, good end for Fomori, compared to Benning's bad end. It's still not great. You're left both a raging addict and the plaything of a heartless world-destroying corporation, but you get some stat boosts, so that's nice. Ross is where things get interesting. It's no secret that HTP is a spiritual successor to TTS, Brava's previous project, with some characters succeeding their predecessors in different ways. D is a patriarch with outlandish mannerisms and close-held secrets. Marcus is a scholar with a massive mane of red hair that tends to bumble dick-first into problems. Kitten is the mild-mannered sane man, complete with a redneck engineered guardian spear. Dora and Boy are literally exactly the same. The DNA crossover is apparent. And this has led to plenty of people speculating how the rest of the Emperor's Primarchs will incarnate as these children. And here, we seem to get our first answer. It's pretty apparent that Ross is the HTP incarnation of Russ. From their names to having the same voice actor, Zoran, it's obvious. But while Russ was an honorable loyalist, things seem different here. Let's start with what we can confirm and work from there. Ross is pretty obviously a werewolf. Not just because of Russ's wolf motif preceding him. Chapman is slightly above average height, roughly just short of 6 feet tall, and Ross utterly towers over him. He's also jacked as all fuck. I mean, look at this man. He's a werewolf. However, if you've been paying attention, this raises a question. If Pentex serves the worm and is opposed to Gaia, why would a werewolf work for them? Introducing the Black Spiral Dancers. Garou that have been corrupted by the worm. How varies from edition to edition. In older editions, there's an epic, long history stretching back to Roman times, where a complex and unfortunate series of events led to their fall. In 5th edition, a bunch of furries just kind of fucked off into a hole where the worm lived, and they came out evil. Also, they killed their god, or some shit, I don't know, fuck 5th edition. Point is, the dancers serve the worm, and it makes sense they'd work for Pentex since their goals align. However, they're not the only answer as to who Ross is and what he's doing here, working for Palmer. The Get of Fenris are a tribe of Garou that trace their history all the way back to the Norse of old. They're a very intimidating and powerful tribe that have a kinda my way or the highway approach to the war on the worm, leading to a lot of strife with other tribes. Even without the support of others, the Get of Fenris are pretty fierce. Now, if I'm suggesting this is a possibility, it begs the question. Why would a Get of Fenris wolf, one of the most ardent tribes against the worm, be doing dirty work for Palmer, who may not be Fomori himself or anything, but he's pretty clearly doing the worm's work? The answer is politics. Palmer's connection to the Regent shows he's clearly playing ball with other movers and shakers in the supernatural world. Which tracks for Pentex, as they're always willing to do business, even with enemies. They don't interact much, but there's definitely a sense of antagonism between Ross and Palmer, as if their teamwork is through clenched teeth. My guess is that Ross isn't loyal to Pentex or a dancer or anything of the sort. My money is on Ross being outside muscle, hired to help Palmer with wet work in exchange for something. Probably not money. Garou rarely have an issue on that front. But what Ross and his tribe are getting in exchange for helping Palmer, we have no idea. So, what we can confirm is that Ross is a werewolf, is very scary, is working for Pentex, with multiple reasons as to why. Ultimately, this episode saw a lot of progress as far as showing us more of the world, of the titular world of darkness. We've been introduced to Pentex, another of Dee's kids, and we got some more time with Kevin and Guy. Personally, I can't wait for more.